Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at a new offering from Mongoose, War Fleets of the Fifth Frontier War, part of their Fifth Frontier War series, something I've been really enjoying. It was written by the always solid writing of Martin J. Doherty, and we get a look at the fleets of ships that are partaking in the Fifth Frontier War from the Third Imperium and from the Zhodani Consulate. So we only get those ships. I was kind of surprised that's all that this had. It didn't have any other ships, but that's probably coming in a future supplement. That's a guess on my part. The artwork in this is outstanding, by the way. They did a really, really nice job in this. If you're looking for combat sequences and starship pictures, this is your book. So we get initially, I'll go back a little bit, we get a look at what the Fifth Frontier War is, why it's being fought, and how it came to be. And that's been covered already in the Fifth Frontier War and a few other supplements. We got kind of an oddly placed key for all the icons that are going to be on the deck plans. Instead of being right in front of the deck plans, it's before we talk about the Imperial Navy. That's just an editor's choice. I get it. So then we go into the Imperial Navy and how the philosophy behind the Imperial Navy. And then we start getting a look at some of the actual ships. Now, I'm going to say right now, I cannot pronounce Villani stuff very well, and I certainly can't pronounce a lot of the Zhodani stuff. So some of these I'm just going to say, hey, look at this ship. So here we have the Uashki class, second class battleship. There's all the stats on it. Nice picture of it. Gives us the design philosophy and the armament, which I really liked. I like the design philosophy a lot. Some variants, and then it talks about the main hull and different elements of the hull. Continuing on that. And then we get a cross-section view and then a top-down view of the deck. I like this. I thought this was nice, especially in bigger ships. That's very important. I like how clean the depictions of the ships are in this book. I think they did a nice job. So here we get an Umkigi class fleet tender. Again, some beautiful artwork. We get the general design on this particular vessel, any small craft this vessel can have, and its deck plans, the cross-cut deck plans, and then the top-downs. We got to look at a couple of variants, and you'd be able to do the variants easily as the game master. You'd just be able to change some stuff up right in the base design. And then we get the Kirkamshush class reserve battleship. And again, this guy is 120,000 tons, which I like the bigger ships. This book covers some of the same ground of some of the other stuff already presented for Fifth Frontier War, but it's kind of necessity. You kind of have to understand exactly what's going on. So they tried to keep this stuff linked from one book to the next. They did a pretty good job for the most part. The writing is very solid, as I said. Couple of typos here and there, nothing horrible. And then there's a couple of design things that made me kind of scratch my head a little bit. But I'm not going to pick nits. This is a nice, solid book. I really liked it. The Erlu class light carrier. I like that they featured some carriers in here. Carriers are not a big thing in Traveler. They're not used a ton. And there's some beautiful pictures. And then another cross-section, top-down views. And then we get the Duamu class heavy logistics ship. I like that we saw some logistics ships and that kind of thing, support vessels. It's not all just the ships that are on the front line blowing each other up. Again, we get top-down, or the side view, and then the top-down. Dargo class intelligence ship. I like the intelligence ships. These will be very prevalent in the Spinward Marches in the years running up to the war, and certainly once the war began. Nice traveler adventures can be built around an intelligence ship, whether you're aboard the ship gathering intelligence, or just happen to stumble into the wrong place aboard your little far trader, and suddenly the Imperium, you know what the Imperium is doing, the Imperium doesn't want you to do that, or know that. So that could be kind of an interesting plot hook. I like also these are built around usually tech level 14 or 15. I realize that's the cutting edge for Traveler, but it's still nice to see. And it talks about the intelligence ship, how they destroy the information that might be gathered if an enemy were to take the vessel. So it's just really nicely done. Then we have the Pioneer class light monitor, 800 tons. And then a patrol variant outrigger. This is an outrigger you can put on for it to have a longer patrol. A combat variant outriggers. And then we get the Duan class gunboat tender. Gunboat philosophy being something that the Imperium walked away from. The battle riders, everybody got really excited about those during the during Mega Traveler. They really came up, the theory being that a battle rider, ton for ton, could beat a jump-capable ship because they could devote more of their internal space to armament and weaponry and shields, as opposed to having to put in jump drives. The problem becomes, of course, if the vessel that carried them into that place, the tender, gets attacked and destroyed, they're stranded in that system. I like battle riders, I really do. I see they have a role, but I understand why you might be hesitant. Then we get the Imperial gunboats, and then we get PBC-10 class heavy system defense boat. Love a good SDB. Just very pretty book, very clean. I love the deck plans in this thing. This was a fun read. It's one of the reasons why it took me so long to get this particular video out. This book came out, as of the posting of this video, this book will have been out a week. And it's rare for me to take a full week to take a look at the book, get things together, and then ready to do the review. But there was a lot to digest in this. Colonial fighters and utility craft. Colonial fleet is being more of a local fleet than a part of the actual Imperial Navy fleet, but they're called up when war is here. The Larshan utility craft. I love the no wings, not kind of streamlined, but not really streamlined vessels the Imperium has, where they don't look like they should be able to fly, but courtesy of anti-gravity, of course, they can. We get a heavy fighter, and this has been a long staple of Traveler as well, the no wings fighter kind of thing. And then we get the doctrine the Imperium employs for system security and defense. This was interesting reading. I really liked it, especially the section coming up here. The low value system, the medium value systems, and the high value systems, and how you put your assets where they're needed most, depending on the value of the system. That is absolutely something you have to make during war, or choices you have to make during war, and I like that it's called out here, and I loved reading about the philosophy. That might be what I like the most about this book, is reading the philosophy of the Imperium, and then coming up, the Zhodani. We get a look at strategically important locations, how the Imperium will treat those, and then we go to the Zhodani fleet, roughly halfway through the book. This was kind of neat because we got a nice insight into the Zhodani way of life, their mindset. Martin Doherty does a really solid job of bringing that out, and I think it really came through. I really like this book. I like the way that it was presented, and I like the change in tone that we got from the Third Imperium when we started talking about the Zhodani. The Chikir class fleet battleship. This guy runs 400,000 tons. Zhodani build them big. I really enjoyed this book. I had a lot of fun reading this. I didn't want to do anything on my channel about it until I digested the full thing. And I actually finished it a day or two ago, and I actually wanted to kind of think about it a little bit and then run back and get some ideas of what I wanted to point out. There are a few areas where the book contradicts itself. There's an area in the Imperial section where it talks about storing up to 80 tons of auxiliary craft, but then they talk about putting 2 50-tonners in there at the same time. Little things like that. It's not enough to make me take away my enjoyment of the book. It's just that it does make me scratch my head a little bit, and I wonder how much playtest Mongoose does, if any, before putting out a book like this. We've got the Nigliats, I can't even say that word, class battleship, 250,000 tons. I love these Zhodani wings. And they have the curved wedge design, which again sets them apart from the Imperium. They got the little wings. I always thought that was to make it look like a Romulan or a Klingon vessel myself, but they look cool anyway. I love the combat system going on here with the high-ranking officer just kind of strolling through. The Insha class fleet cruiser. 100,000 tons for this guy. Again, we get a look at the general design, its deployment, and then the deck plans. The Ishdivda class raiding cruiser, 60,000 ton. So if you're engaging in the Fifth Frontier War, this is the stuff you're going to see, and that's what this book is there to give you. I'm running a game right now in District 268. We played last night. As of the filming of this video, we played and had a lot of fun, and I kind of wrapped up an ongoing campaign in anticipation of doing an active duty campaign, which I am going to tie into the Fifth Frontier War. And the reason for that is back a million years ago when I first was playing Traveler, the Fifth Frontier War had been announced. It was a story arc they were doing from Game Designers Workshop, and we played an active duty campaign during the war. So this is a little bit of nostalgia for me to come back full circle with that. My players are looking forward to that. We talked about it again last night. They're actually going to do a session 0, and they've agreed I can film it, and they've agreed I can film the entire campaign as long as everything continues to go well. So hopefully that'll be coming pretty soon. We have the session 0 tentatively scheduled for the end of September. So look for the video of that to come out sometime in October. So we have the Kenj, can't even say it, class light cruiser, 20,000 tons, displacement. Beautiful artwork. Just throughout this book, the artwork is just really solid. Really, I keep using the word solid. I don't want to say that word. The artwork is beautiful. I've really enjoyed the artwork in here. And there is quite a bit of it, which I expect in a fleet book. And then we have the whatever name that is, class security vessel, 30,000 ton displacement to hold secured areas or to help come in and make an area, it be a front runner to take over by the Zhodani fleet. I love the idea of the Fifth Frontier War. The Third Imperium knew war was coming, but had no idea exactly when. Zhodani fleets just kind of came out of jump and surprised everyone, and the Imperium at the very beginning is on its heels, trying to get reoriented and deal with what's going on. That's really cool. That's something that's, I think, pretty dynamic. I haven't figured out how I could bring the full picture to play at my table, and unfortunately my players enjoy playing Traveler, but none of them reads the Traveler stuff, so I really don't have anybody to kind of bounce this off of, as I did 40 years ago when I had an active Traveler GM and I was reading this stuff too. So then we have the whatever class fleet support ship, displacing 30,000 tons. Again, we get a nice look at the support ships that you would absolutely need. You can't just go in and blow stuff up. You've got to support the vessels that did the blowing up. And again, beautiful deck plans. The Sedapal class fleet destroyer, 10,000 ton displacement vessel. And then the whatever class scout destroyer. This would be the analog to the famed scout ship. This ship displaces this isn't it. I'm sorry. It's coming up. But this is just a class scout destroyer, rather. So it would be one of the leading vessels going in. Then we have an assault ship. This guy is 5,800 tons, which I thought was kind of neat. Usually they're, 5,000 tons or 6,000 tons. This 5,800. Love that picture. And then we talk about light assault operations. And then the ships that can go with this vessel. And then the layout of the vessel. The Zhodani, for the most part, operate at tech level 14, as opposed to the Imperium's probable tech level 15. I say that because there's a lot of colonial fleets that are involved in this conflict as well, that are operating anywhere between tech level 12 and tech level 14. But the Third Imperium actually does have the advantage in tech by 1 tech level, which can be significant. And then we have an intelligence vessel at 3,000 tons, and this one had a little bit of a James Bond kind of flavor to it. I could see doing a lot of stories based around this vessel. Doing a Star Trek, the original series, Cat and Mouse, as in Balance of Terror, I believe it was, where we first meet the Romulans, and Kirk and the Romulan commander engage in what is effectively submarine warfare. I could see doing that with this one. We got a covert operations vessel, would fill that role also. And then the Nimitz class interstellar vessel. This is the guy I was talking about that is the analog to the 100-ton displacement scout from the Third Imperium. The Zhodani do not regard this just as a scout-type vessel. it has other roles, but I thought this was kind of neat to see the Zhodani equivalent of one of the most famous ships in Traveler, which is the 100-ton Scout. And then the small craft family. So this is the different smaller craft that would be carried aboard. These are non-starships, but they are spaceships. And then we get a light fighter displacing at 8 tons. And then long-term strategy, their doctrine, how they're fighting the war, why they're fighting the war. We get a little insight into that as well. We, of course, don't know exactly why they're fighting the war. There are a lot of thoughts as to why to make a neighbor on their border of their very stable empire, to make the neighbor a little less stable and maybe gain a few planets, but really just to kind of rock them back on their heels a little bit. But we get to look at the long-term strategy here. And then we get, of course, a fine index. And then another hunk of beautiful artwork stuck back here at the bottom of the index. And there's the back of the book. So this guy clocks in at 178 pages, including the covers. And the ebook is available now through Mongoose and through DriveThruRPG. I'll put a link to both below. And then the actual book itself comes out in print, I think, in January. You can check Mongoose's website for that one. But there you have it, the war fleets of the Fifth Frontier War, part of the Fifth Frontier War offerings from Mongoose. I'm really excited about this. So far, I have not been disappointed in any of the books that they've put out for this. I think they did a really nice job with this. This was one I was excited about, but I was a little nervous about, because it's easy to kind of mess up a fleet book. And this one does a pretty good job. A lot of the stuff that's here for the Imperium, we did see in other books in the last few years. But it doesn't really take away from my enjoyment of this book. It's not too overlapping that I'm grumbling that I lost 10 or 15 pages to stuff I already had. Because you do a little bit, but not a ton. But I recommend this book completely. I'm excited to have it. Haven't decided if this one's going to get bought in hardcover or not. I'll decide that sometime in the future. I really wish Mongoose would explore some type of program where if I bought the e-version off of their website, I would get some kind of discount to buy the hardcover. Because right now, if I do make a decision to go back and get the hardcover, I'm going to third markets, eBay or some other sellers, to pick them up, because I can get them at a better price than I can new off of Mongoose. Not to slam Mongoose or anything, I'm not. It's just that I wish they had a way to encourage me to just buy the book from them. I'd rather do that. But that's all I've got today on page 121. Please enjoy the Fifth Frontier War. I know I am. I've really been enjoying the releases on this. I hope it'll keep going for quite some time. I like the fact that the war is not predestined to end the way it ended 40 years ago, and that some things can change and the players can actually be some of the driving force. But that's all I got today on page 121. I thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please take a look at the Patreon. Help me out there. Like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed it. Please leave some comments below requesting nice comments, or at least nicely worded comments. I've been getting bitten up a little bit lately in comments. I'm not sure why. So I'm just asking everybody just kind of maintain some civility, especially if you disagree with me. That's fine. I don't mind if people disagree with me. If I got something wrong, call me on it. But call me on it nicely. That's all I got to say. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on page 121.